Next, Bezalel made the ark out of acacia wood. It was 3 3/4 feet long, 2 1/4 feet wide, and 2 1/4 feet high. It was overlaid with pure gold inside and out, and it had a molding of gold all the way around. 4 gold rings were fastened to its 4 feet. There were 2 rings at each side. Then he made poles from acacia wood and overlaid them with gold. He put the poles into the rings at the sides of the ark to carry it. He then from pure gold made the ark's cover, the place of atonement. It was 3 3/4 feet long and 2 1/4 feet wide. He made 2 figures of cherubim out of hammered gold and placed them at the ends of the atonement cover. They were made so they were actually a part of the atonement cover. It was all one piece. The cherubim faced each other as they looked down on the atonement cover, and their wings were stretched out above the atonement cover to protect it. He then made a table out of acacia wood, 3 feet long, 1 1/2 feet wide, and 2 1/4 feet high. It was overlaid with pure gold, with a gold molding all around the edge. A rim about 3 inches wide was attached along the edges of the table, and a gold molding ran around the rim. He then cast 4 rings of gold and attached them to 4 table legs next to the rim. These were made to hold the carrying poles in place. He made the carrying poles of acacia wood and overlaid them with gold. Next, using pure gold, he made the plates, dishes, bowls, and pitchers to be placed on the table. These utensils were to be used in pouring out drink offerings. He then made the lampstand, again using pure hammered gold. Its base, center stem, lamp cups, blossoms, and buds were all of one piece. The lampstand had 6 branches, 3 going out from each side of the center stem. Each of the 6 branches held a cup shaped like an almond blossom, complete with buds and petals. The center stem of the lampstand was also decorated with 4 almond blossoms. 1 blossom was set beneath each pair of branches, where they extended from the center stem. The decorations and branches were all one piece with the stem, and they were hammered from pure gold. He also made the 7 lamps, the lamp snuffers, and the trays of all pure gold. The entire lampstand, along with its accessories, was made from 75 pounds of pure gold. The incense altar was made of acacia wood. It was 18 inches square and 3 feet high, with its corner horns made from the same piece of wood as the altar itself. He overlaid the top, sides, and horns of the altar with pure gold and ran a gold molding around the edges. 2 gold rings were placed on opposite sides beneath the molding to hold the carrying poles. The carrying poles were made of acacia wood and were overlaid with gold. He then made the sacred oil for anointing the priests and the fragrant incense using the techniques of the most skilled incense maker. The altar for burning animal sacrifices also was constructed of acacia wood. It was 7 1/2 feet square at the top and 4 1/2 feet high. There were 4 horns, 1 at each of the 4 corners, all of one piece with the rest. This altar was overlaid with bronze. Then he made all the bronze utensils to be used with the altar: the ash buckets, shovels, basins, meat hooks, and fire pans. Next he made a bronze grating that rested on a ledge about halfway down the firebox. 4 rings were cast from each side of the grating to support the carrying poles. The carrying poles themselves were made of acacia wood and were overlaid with bronze. These poles were inserted into the rings at the side of the altar. The altar was hollow and was made from planks. The bronze wash basin and its bronze pedestal were cast from bronze mirrors donated by the woman who served at the entrance of the tabernacle. He then constructed the courtyard. The south wall was 150 feet long. It consisted of curtains made of fine linen. There were 20 posts, each with its own bronze base, and there were silver hooks and rods to hold up the curtains. The north wall was also 150 feet long, with 20 bronze posts and bases, and with silver hooks and rods. The west end was 75 feet wide. The walls were made from curtains supported by 10 posts and bases, and with silver hooks and rods. The east end was also 75 feet wide. The courtyard entrance was on the east side, flanked by 2 curtains. The curtain on the right side was 22.5 feet long and was supported by 3 posts set into 3 bases. The curtain on the left side was also 22.5 feet long and was supported by 3 posts set into 3 bases. All the curtains used in the courtyard walls were made of fine linen as well. Each post had a bronze base and all the hooks and rods were silver. The tops of the posts were overlaid with silver, and the rods to hold up the curtains was solid silver. The curtain that covered the entrance to the courtyard was made of fine linen cloth and embroidered with blue, purple, and scarlet yarn. It was 30 feet long and 7.5 feet high, just like the curtains of the courtyard walls. It was supported by 4 posts set into 4 bronze bases. The tops of the posts were overlaid with silver, and the hooks and rods were also made of silver. All the tent pegs used in the tabernacle and courtyard were made of bronze. Here is an inventory of the materials used in the building of the Tabernacle of the Covenant. Moses directed the Levites to compile the figures, and Ithamar, son of Aaron the priest, served as a recorder. Bezalel, son of Uri, grandson of Hur of the tribe of Judah, was in charge of the whole project, just as the Lord had commanded Moses. He was assisted by Aholiab, son of Ahismaach, of the tribe of Dan, a craftsman expert at engraving, designing, and embroidering blue, purple, and scarlet yarn on fine linen cloth. The people brought gifts of gold, totaling about 2,200 pounds, all of which was used throughout the tabernacle. The amount of silver that was given was about 7,545 pounds. It came from the tax of 1/5 of an ounce of silver, collected from each of those registered in the census. This included all the men who were 20 years old or older, 603,550 in all. The 100 bases for the frames of the sanctuary walls and for the posts supporting the inner curtain required 7,500 pounds of silver, about 75 pounds for each base. The rest of the silver, about 45 pounds, was used to make the rods and hooks and to overlay the tops of the posts. The people also brought 5,310 pounds of bronze, which was used for casting the bases for the posts at the entrance to the tabernacle, and for the bronze altar with its bronze grating and altar utensils. Bronze was also used to make the bases for the posts that supported the curtains around the courtyard, the bases for the curtain at the entrance of the courtyard, and all the tent pegs used to hold the curtains of the courtyard in place.